Hello, and this is Debbie, and this is Light Up Your Worth. Welcome. Can't wait for you to meet my guest for today, Walkyria. Walkyria Whitlock. And I've been practicing her name, and I think I still didn't get it quite right, but I'm so excited for you to meet her. She's a poet, an entrepreneur, a yoga instructor, a philanthropist, and a world traveler from a small town in Idaho. She loves helping people enjoy life through healing, empowerment, and education. Her book, I love what I've forgotten, helps people reflect, and her help them connect. And her nonprofit helps teach youth mindfulness through a VR headset. She believes that world peace can be created by teaching people to create peace from within, and that the greatest expression of gratitude for life is to enjoy it. Oh, that's just so lovely. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Um,
With the pause. Sorry. I
yeah.
know.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's fine. Pauses it can be taken out, right?
Yeah.
Do
Yep.
you want me to go straight in? Yeah. I didn't know if I was supposed to go straight in to like something about myself or
Nope.
sorry.
Nope. You can. Yeah, you can. So I'm going to pause here for a second and give it so I know when to go back. So,
Perfect.
okay, cool. So, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. And yeah, I'm actually in Savannah, Georgia right now, which is really exciting. Currently working on another yacht for this month, and I have a fun interview tomorrow for a job that amongst like obviously all of the other things that I'm doing, but this one really goes along with what I'm doing, so I'm really excited.
Oh, we'll have
I
to
know, a
send,
fun time to catch me. Yeah.
right? In between, how fun to be down in Georgia. Wow.
Oh
Like that's
yeah.
a really fun place to be. It's so pretty this time of year, too.
It's gorgeous and it's a nice break from Idaho where it's kind of cold right now. We had an inversion. And so I was like, oh, maybe I should go to Savannah. And it was a good call. That's for sure. If you've ever been, Savannah is my favorite place in the United States, actually. It's just such a lively, spirited city.
And doesn't it have savannas where they have like the really big famous trees, that they say it's like on those top 100 places to ever go is to go see the big
Yep.
roadway of trees, right? Isn't that Savannah?
Yep. Forrest Gump was filmed here. Yeah, that's Savannah.
Oh yeah, that's on
Has
my list. I haven't been actually to Savannah, so oh how nice.
Yeah, oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, so I was so excited is that when we connected before the podcast, I was really drawn to her book. You know, I love what I've forgotten. And if you're on, you can't see it on the audio, but on the YouTube, I'm actually going to be showing the book. This is beautiful pink book, and it's one of those books that you take and you read and you ponder, and you really think about what the words are saying. You know, I really like to be in my heart space when I go to read it, and then read a few of them and then come back, read a few of them, come back and ponder. And I just find it so refreshing to have such perspective and the experience behind it. And I'm really curious about how you came about with all of these experiences coming through. So I'd love for you to share that journey of how, I love what I've forgotten has really just been come through you.
Yeah. So, funny enough, I was always a writer when I was growing up. It was like something that was quite special about me. I actually scored in the 97th percentile in the United States for writing when I was 8 years old. Um,
Wow.
I know. And I'm from a really tiny town. So like the teachers were talking to my mom and stuff like that. But life and I don't know, you have different circumstances, right?
Mhm.
And we we weren't doing well with money, and so when they spoke about publishing a book actually at that age, my mom was like, "I can't afford to do something like that," and she was doing a fantastic job. So my real dad was not in my life after the age of 8 at all, and before that he had drug issues and there was abuse, and so, like, there was a transition period between her leaving him, obviously, and then finding my stepdad, and so when you have such kind of issues going on in your life, I think it's hard for you to focus on, like, the really good stuff sometimes, but it
Mhm.
is, like, literally so necessary and important to learn how to do those, but, that's how I began, I guess, like, in this small town, with a distorted view of men-women relationships in the
Mhm.
home, and, through high school, I think, or well, around the age of 14 is when those issues really started to show, and I was actually involved in a statutory rape, which, you know, that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody in the town, like, everybody knew everything, and I struggled before everyone knew everything. I struggled with depression, and I, attempted suicide actually, about a month after that incident, and that's when everybody found out about everything, and when it's just, like, so amazing to talk about it now, I guess, especially because I hear and I suicide is such a big thing,
Mhm.
especially right now, and, I really did struggle so badly with depression and suicide, and so I can relate so deeply, and, you know, what happened with me actually is I had overdosed on Advil. I had taken 70 pills, um, and I woke up the next morning, and I was just like, "How?" You know what I mean? Like, how could I wake up after something like that? And I was being protected. I have angels, like
Yeah.
God,
That
and
is definitely some divine interaction right there.
so, yeah, what happened was my mom, she had a lot of allergic reactions, and so she had Benadryl from Costco, and she poured it into a small Advil to keep by her bedside. And that's the only reason I, like, just little things like that. And I went to counseling and I got through high school. I actually did very well in school and sports and activities. And I went to college and I was a mentor for college freshmen. I was in my junior year and I still struggled like with these bouts of depression. And I just couldn't understand why. Um, I was eating right, I was exercising, I was going to counseling, and spoke with the counselor too, and, I just, how what can I do more? Like, it felt like there was no avail, and um, that's when I learned about mindfulness and meditation. And it wasn't actually through counseling. It's one of my friends. She had started a mindfulness journal and she said that was really helping her. And so I started doing that too, which was like just learning to be more observant of your thoughts
Mhm.
and more aware of how you're feeling. And meditation, I actually started because I heard all of the CEOs did it And I thought there must be something to that. But that's where I learned that how to build a relationship. I learned how to build a relationship with my mind so I could focus on what I wanted to focus on, because that's what it's all about, right? Is where
Hmm.
you direct your focus. And so um mindfulness helped me become aware, and then meditation helped me to redirect. And so I was starting to change the narrative in my head and become aware of like those negative thoughts and shift them. And that was really, it was me breaking myself down, right? Like that's what's happening in depression. I feel like a lot of time, like it's a depression, you're breaking yourself down, and you can learn those behaviors, right? Those thought patterns
Hmm.
from your parents. You can be spoken to in certain ways that you start to adapt that narrative in your head. Like there's a lot of reasons why, or something you can think differently about yourself. But um once I became aware personally, I started to write again. And like opened up that side of myself, that like creative side, and I was starting to express myself. And I actually felt at that time that was the only way that I could express myself was through writing. And I decided that that was my gift. Like when I didn't feel like I had anything else, I had that. And I was like, okay, if life is to share your gift with the world, like that's what I want to do. I want to write and sing. Like those are some of my gifts. And my parents said, nah, that's not you at all. And, they were looking at this version of me that was constructed off of what other people think I should be, right?
Hmm.
And I had to change, and I wanted to change. So I decided to drop out of college. And a few months later, I end up selling my car and moving to Fiji. And so the story begins.
Yes. Oh, I just want to pause there before we go into Fiji and the rest of your journey is
Oh, yeah.
how powerful it is to understand your whole mindfulness with writing. So did you get into like a more some type of like just connecting with yourself and then just free flowed all the thoughts that were coming through just
Yeah,
to get it all out basically
exactly.
on paper without judging yourself or
Yeah.
yeah, that's really powerful. I think a lot of people need to hear that, right? Like what how do I get it out or how do you let it out and
And
understanding.
so, with that being said, I think this is a perfect time to go into female of the times, um, which is one that you had picked out before. Do you remember what page it's on?
It had the mirror. So we were talking before we started,
11.
listeners. We were looking at. I had marked my book with some of the passages that really spoke to me, and we had chatted before. Was that I really wanted to see if we could talk through some of the goodness that's in the books and the power of words. Words are so, so powerful. Yes. So I'm on page 11 for those following us too. So when you grab your
So,
copy.
yeah, this is talking about how expression. So, we had a president. I'll give you a little preface. We had a president of the time, President Trump, and I felt a lot of the time like the things that he said were like so degrading to women. And um there was a lot of things happening, plus my history, right? And one day this particular piece just flowed through me. So what happened, I was actually driving in the car and I started singing this and I just recorded it. This is how it came.
Oh,
Okay? So
okay.
the little preface.
Yes.
Female of the times. My time is remarkable. I don't let the good times merely pass. My time is unforgettable. I do what I can to make love last. I am a woman confused by my inspirational ties. I know that I am one. All I know is I am one. Why should I refine you and I? You and I. You and I. I am a female of my time. I am a female with a sharp mind. I am a female, or am I? Because I am called. I am a female of the times. I am broken, I am strong, I am fine. I drink a little bit of wine. Oh, I'm just a female of the times. Do you feel my broken touch? Do you feel my broken touch? Because I am fierce and I am frightened by my own mind. And I feel the comfort of the rhymes. Wondering if I was not beautiful, would I be able to make a beautiful sound? Would my inspiration be pure? How would I be sure that there's nothing wrong with me if I wasn't always accepted, always for my beauty? Oh, don't you see? I know my heart is true. But if I was a true female of the times, I would not mind how I am drawn to be a beautiful rock. Oh, I am sure I can be cured, but I cannot feel like I cannot heal. I cannot heal if I cannot feel. Oh, am I real if I don't even feel? Oh, to be real, we must feel. I cannot pluck any pieces of me, or I will not be me. Oh, real, how real, how real is it to feel? Is it to be? Is it to love? Is it to touch? I hope that you are not broken yet, because I can't bear this feeling, bear this feeling that I'm dreaming alone. That's it.
Oh, just
Oh,
just let that like sink into your soul. It really is impactful. You know, the
thank you.
mhm,
I have a roommate and she is like 60 years old and she's divorced and she's she's really beautiful. And I was telling someone about her and how beautiful she was. And I was like, she's just going through like a bit of a hard time right now. And they're like, well, why? And I was like, well, as a woman, there's a part of you that like believes you have an expiration date. And I don't know like how many people I know that people really do feel like that. And thankfully things are changing.
mhm.
But it's still a real thing that a lot of people feel.
It's a really real thing. It's interesting that you say that because I'm soon, I'm 55, almost 56 here. And the ladies that I coach, that I work through, is that, I don't want them to die with their song inside of them, right?
Yeah.
And that they still have time. They have a vision. They have another, all these years, right?
Yep.
Of being and being accepted. And our culture has become so obsessively focused on being youthful.
Yeah.
But things are different than when I was in my 20s or 30s. The world is a different place. All the work that's been done, but yet we still are very outwardly focused on beauty.
Yep.
And I think it's part of our culture, that whole exploration, not so much how we feel. So you have to, I mean, I know I help women get over that too. So I
Yep.
completely, yeah, know that it's a really unfortunate thing to think that, no, your dreams that you had at your 20s or your 30s or even your 40s or your 50s, things are still very much possible. So that's probably why when I was reading through this, right? 55,
Yep.
seeing this, about how, you know, um, how that progression is through our life. And I think it's what's so remarkable is that you're able to express what those of us who writing isn't our gift. Song isn't our gift, that you're able to express it in a way that really resonates with our heart. um, Super, super powerful. So thank you for that. We're going to have more too, but I wanted to continue us on, right? Like you sold all your stuff and you moved
Yeah.
to Fiji. And
Yeah.
everybody's probably thinking, has she lost her mind? What is happening
Oh,
here?
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yep, that's exactly what was going on in my parents' head, and I couldn't really understand that. You know, so maybe I was
Yeah.
like, "What do you mean, wouldn't you go to Fiji if you were us?" Like
I think now I have the courage to go to do it,
Yeah.
but I don't think when I was young I would have. Um, I was adventurous in other ways, but I was working on a different dream, right? So,
Yeah, oh, exactly.
mhm,
Exactly, we all have different dreams, and we all have different paths, and that's why it's also so important not to compare,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
it's
so
always
important.
find inspiration in other people, and
Yeah.
that's
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. I think when I hit about mid 30s, when I became single, a single mom, I would have gone, maybe how can I make this happen? Right? Can I take him with me? Can I take my son with me? Or
Yeah.
and Fiji of all places, right? I mean, my
Yeah,
gosh, Fiji is just breathtakingly beautiful.
it is, absolutely. Have you been to Fiji?
No, but when I was growing up in the Bay Area, one of our really good friends in middle school, him and his family had come over from Fiji. And at that
Oh,
time,
cool.
nobody knew, right? He didn't have, like, I was part of some of his original friends, my friend Shaitan. And he and my boyfriend, who was actually Persian, right? And they were very different than everybody else. And so they were like, I thought they were the normal ones, right? Like they were
Mm.
so accepting and fun and so yeah, so I learned all about Fiji with being his friend all those years
Aw.
ago. Yeah, middle
Oh,
school for
yeah,
goodness
it's a
sake.
strong culture too, like yeah, Fijians stick together no matter where they go, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's just breathtakingly gorgeous. And nobody knew Fiji. You couldn't Google, there was no Google, Mr. Google back then. So,
Yeah, yeah, no, I had a friend who was Fijian, and we actually met when I was in high school. We did something called Girls State. It's a mock government trial for a week, and you're like chosen specially from your school. And we were both helping the bus driver take out the suitcases, and we
mhm.
went for the same suitcase and became best friends immediately.
Oh, I love that story.
Yeah.
No coincidences.
No, her
Definitely
name's
no.
Hosanna as well.
Oh,
It's like
oh, that's beautiful.
mhm. Yeah, and so she invites me to go to Fiji with her, which is where she's originally from, and she already had an apartment lined up. She was actually dating the prime minister's son. So,
Wow. Kind of a big deal.
yeah, it was. It was. It really helped me get through customs when I didn't know where I was staying or anything.
Yeah, it is all about who you know.
Yeah.
Really, she's not some random American who's never
You
gonna leave, who's
know,
never
yeah,
gonna leave.
no. Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh, yeah. So, it was incredible. I learned how to surf the very first day, um, with a really hot Australian surf instructor. My friend, I feel like she picked him out for me, you know what I mean? Got to model in a fashion show for Fijian wedding dresses. I got to go diving with sharks. Um, eh, Amazing. I was volunteering for tips as a waitress,
Mhm.
and that was probably the best, like, job ever.
Oh my
So
gosh, yes,
fun.
yeah, the
Yeah.
people that you would get to meet and mhm.
Definitely recommend that in your 20s, like, be a waitress or a server, it's so fun.
Some place where some really interesting people are gonna
Oh,
come,
yeah.
right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Exotically.
especially
Mhm.
Fiji. Yeah, we had some really cool, famous Fijian or, like, Kiwis and Australian people come through, which was like Kiwi means you're from New Zealand, by the way.
Oh. Oh, the slang of living outside.
Yeah, and so I actually got picked up to work on a yacht while I was working at this restaurant, and that is how I got into the yachting industry.
Oh, now tell our listeners what that's about. Oh my gosh. I mean, how many people have been on a yacht, right? Like, let alone go and spend time on a yacht and be part of that whole experience.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's incredible. The boats are so amazing, and my job was to clean and do service. So you're making people's beds, cleaning the bathroom, setting breakfast table, lunch, dinner, cleaning their
Mhm.
plates, taking care of the crew staff, doing laundry, and there's usually a team of you doing it. Um, and that is what I got called into, and I did not like it at all. Really, truly.
Yeah.
I was just coming from living like the island life, which I could
Mhm.
wake up whenever I wanted to and go to the beach, and then around 4 or 5 o'clock, I would go to work and work till midnight, and then you could even go to the clubs after that,
Oh,
because
see, that sounds like
yeah,
an incredible experience, right? To really,
yeah,
like, just really be present to where you're at and
especially at 20 years old, like, couldn't
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and then how did that change your the mindset of where you were, right? The struggle that you were going through of understanding yourself and your own,
Mhm.
awareness of your mind at that point.
It was really big. I was still into yoga and meditation at that point,
Mhm,
obviously, like, it's been pretty steady throughout the whole part of my life, but, there were a couple of big moments there. One of them was after the first week when I was with my friend all of the time, she went to work, and my job didn't start for another week, and so I was just, doing nothing at the house, and I was scared to leave. And because my family had told me like that there's all of these kidnappings and like stuff like that, and that was going through my mind a lot. Like, it was great, sure, when I was with my friend, but now that I was alone, I was like scared. And then I thought about it after 3 days of being inside. I was like, okay, if I'm just going to do this, I could have just stayed home in Boise. So it's time to leave. And I did. And actually, this guy in this really nice car approached me and like asked me all the questions that I was told like not to answer those things. And he had a nicer car than the prime minister. And so I was just like, these are all red flags. And then um I sat down on the bench to wait for the bus, and this other person, this old man, sat next to me and was asking me a lot of questions too, and it just made me feel uncomfortable. And the car was still in eye like I could still it was in eyesight, like so it was parked up the street and the bus came. The guy goes to get on it and I said, "Oh, I'm not going to go." And I saw him get off at the next stop and I just felt really scared. So I went into this shop that was nearby and I stayed there for about an hour until both the man and the car were gone. I went back to my room and I reflected and I was like, if you believe that your thoughts are creating your reality, then that how did this happen? And I was like, I was thinking so much about my fears and like acting out of my fears. And so I was like, okay, gotta stop that. And smooth sailing ever since. I've had the most incredible time in Fiji. Didn't have any experience like that ever again.
Oh, what a powerful example of how our thoughts actually send that out to the universe and bring us what we want, right? What we focus on actually comes through, co-creating it, manifesting whatever
Yeah.
words people resonate with.
And was having a lot of fun, like going out after that. I would meet so many incredible people and then go out with for drinks after that and just it was all good, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, a really conscious decision whether you're going to live a life of fear or you're the world that you are in is a world of love
Yeah.
and what we bring to it. I love that. So then you go off and you try your yachting experience.
Mhm. And my visa is ending in 1 month at this point, and, I decide, um I have to go back to the US. I go to LA, but I still wasn't sure what I was going to do. I knew I wasn't going to go back to college, but I decided, "Oh, I will go to Florida." By the way, when I went to Fiji, I went to Fiji with $50, and when I went to Florida, I went with $100. Um, I just, I'm still similar in not
Mhm.
having a real concept for money.
But yet you had enough.
Oh, exactly, that's what I thought, like,
Mhm.
okay, so I went to Florida, and I had heard from other yachties to go to 17th Street, that's where all of the yachting agencies are, and I was walking down 17th Street, I had my backpack on, looking around. I didn't have a phone that was working at that time, so I didn't have internet or anything like that. I go to this vegan restaurant, which that was another big thing that Fiji changed for me too, as I became plant-based. Um, so what that whole transition was a mindful thing, I think, as well, because I saw how much waste there was, and I saw how many lives could have like that didn't need to be lost. So I had studied business and I thought, oh, okay, well, if I can change the demand, then I will do that. I stopped eating meat. So it's been 9 years now that I don't eat meat.
Wow. Wow, that's
Yeah.
quite the gift from Fiji to be able to give that to you, to be able to um, go from that's a major lifestyle change, really.
Yep.
to be able to change, how you're eating. And so then you show up and you're walking down, you're eating vegan food, and
Yeah,
you're
so I find this vegan cafe, and I asked this lady if I could borrow her phone so I could search for a place to stay that night.
and then she just look at you.
No, she was so kind, and I think she was really concerned, that I didn't have a place to stay that night. But in
Mhm.
Fort Lauderdale as well, there's a lot of, like, halfway homes, so you're never really sure,
Yeah.
like, who would you bring. But, I found a hostel that was right down the street. It was $40 a night. I walk over there, go to the front desk. I tell the guy my situation, and he says I can work there to for accommodation. I'm like so happy. Someone overhears me and says that they have a job that they might have a job for me. They were working at a restaurant and they were hiring, so they ended up taking me to work with them, and I went in through, like, the back doors and everything,
Mhm.
and I got a job there as a hostess, but it didn't start for 1 week, but that's all literally the same day that I arrived in Fort Lauderdale. Job and place to stay, did it, done. Okay, what's next? So the 3rd night that I was there, my job didn't start for a week. The 3rd night, someone actually overdosed from drug usage, and it was not a good environment at all. I could barely sleep. It was not good. So I decided, okay, I need to get myself out of here. How can I do that? I knew of couch surfing. So I go on couch surfing and looking these things up, and I have to scroll a few pages to find a female. And I message her, tell her my situation, and she comes and picks me up immediately. She tells me I can stay there for as long as I need. She's so gracious, so kind. Yeah, very thankful for her. And after the week starts, I ride my bike to or, ride my bike. I take the bus to, go to my work, and it's about 3 hours because you have the different stops and lines to, it was a long transport, like, I
Yeah.
was not having fun. I'd show up to work, and the other hostess asks me what my story is because who's this girl who came in through the back of the restaurant, you know? And I tell her, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, you're living with a stranger. Come live with me." And she is now one of my best friends. Yep, I moved in with
Wow.
her that night, and, it was amazing. After a month of working there, I saved up enough money to take my courses to get into yachting, which, by the way, if you want to get into yachting, go to my website and enter your email, and you can have a free download for how to get into yachting. And, yeah, I don't even know. Her and I just connected and immediately. And so I saved up enough money, go to take my SCCW. I'm staying at a crew house as well. And at the crew house, I am cooking for people. I don't have enough, like a lot of money, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I'll just cook for people. I find that fun. Someone recommended me to work on a boat as a cruise chef that next week, so I immediately got a job. I know. It was just amazing, and it was another temporary job, which was incredible, and after that job, it led me to be a personal cook slash nanny in the Hamptons.
Wow. Oh my gosh, talk about high end, huh? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was just crazy because I got a phone call on a Friday and the people got my information through a yachting agency, and then, um, so phone call on the Friday, Monday flying me to the Hamptons. You know, hadn't met these people before. They were so incredible. The mom and I really have a special bond. She actually only needed help because she was going through cancer. She was diagnosed with a really sudden, really rare cancer. So they were going to do intravenous radiation, and they needed someone to take care of their house and their dog and their daughter, basically, while she was going through all of this. And yeah, so after 2 weeks of being there, I was completely alone at the house, and I was just like, whoa. Yeah.
Wow, lots of time to be able to dig into and really get into what would come through you. I mean, it's so, you know, one of the things, one of the marks that I found that I marked was on mine, it's on page 20, but it's called Just Be.
Oh,
I really,
I love this one.
yeah, I love so many of them. So, but,
Do you
but
want me
how
to
you,
read this one?
yes, yes. So how you said it was so
Okay.
much more impactful than me reading it. So yes, would you do us the honors?
Yeah, because like how would you know the melody, right? Like
Yeah.
that's one thing that I've felt like I illustrated well in my book, especially when the audiobook comes out, is how different our perspectives can be even when we think that we're looking at the same thing, you
Mhm.
know? So just be. The only thing I have, I'm not even guaranteed. And sometimes I forget to take the only thing I need. Truth be told, it's not that hard, but I am sick of being scarred. All of these cuts upon my knees. I started to think my only job was to please. So, whatever it is you have to say, save it for another day. 'Cause I am here to sing and dance and play. Oh, what it is to be free. What it is to be me. What it is to be free. What it is to just be. So
Hmm.
that's it.
Oh, I love that. There's so many people, and I want to say women, where where the ability to put ourselves and our own needs, even understanding that we have needs,
Yeah.
be able to put them and make those choices, right? Like you had to make a choice. Were you gonna even, pack up your stuff and go to Fiji? Even when you came back, do you just go right back to where you were, knowing what's going to be different? You're different, but I think we can get molded back into our environments, right? Because it's familiar. Our subconscious, I think, starts to come in and, you know,
Yeah, I think that if you come from an environment that's like not super supportive and originally to how you wanted to be, then it's really important to take the time to grow strong enough in how you want to be able to come back and keep that strength, right?
mhm. Yeah, that takes a lot of work.
Thanks.
It
I
takes a
know.
lot of work, right? At
Mhm.
any age, it really takes a lot of work to be able to stay strong in your beliefs because there's so many things that impact us. There's so many studies, right, about how our environment can really even with the best intentions, can really start to get in the way there. So um, I love that. Thank you for reading that one. That is just so, so, so beautiful. Just be. Um, so you are now in the Hamptons.
Yep. Yep. So now I am in the Hamptons and I'm writing a lot. Um, because that's all that I can do, really. Because I really was so busy. It was a lot of responsibility, obviously, and then I didn't know anyone there. So even in my like time off, you know, got to stay at the house for most of it anyway. But I wrote and I ended up writing with one of, well, a friend now, but someone that I hadn't met yet that I saw. It was a friend of a friend who was playing guitar. And I thought, oh, that person might like the style of music that I write. And so we messaged and we ended up writing 4 songs over Skype. Um,
Oh,
yeah, in one night. Yeah.
that's a
And
lot.
yeah. Oh, yeah. We thought, "Oh, wow, this is so easy." You know what I mean? And then later when we're working at it, we're like, "Oh, that was really, really special."
Yeah, talk about being in the flow, right? In that whole connectiveness
Yeah.
of allowing it to come through you. Oh,
Yeah, totally. So we ended up deciding to go to Australia together and busk and live in a van. And so when I'm at the house, I'm still at the house, and there's kind of some drama that happened there with the dad. He was having an affair, and one day it was so hard when she was so sick. It was really, really horrible. She'd be like screaming and crying, obviously, like in pain, because that's the hardest part of
mm.
chemo is when you come back home. And um I took her to the hospital, to the emergency room one day to sign, and she signed a DNR. And I called her husband to tell him to come. And he goes, "No, I'm not feeling very good." And yeah,
Oh,
I
how
that still gets to
heartbreaking.
me. Yeah. And anyway, around that time is when she realized that she needs to tell her family that she's not doing well, because it was so like she didn't want to alarm anyone. She also wanted to be strong. And she had to learn that it was okay to say that. Her parents, her brother, they came to stay with us for a month, and she went into full remission.
Oh,
Yeah, I really believe she just needed that love, you know what I mean? So it
yeah.
was then the husband's like filing for divorce, and it was a good time for me to leave. So went back home for a month and then ended up going to Australia. We bought yeah. We bought a van and went down the coast and ended up recording a whole album in, Byron Bay at the Arts Factory. Yeah, that was super
Wow.
cool.
We have
And
listeners in Australia, by the
oh,
way.
really?
Yeah, we're in 15 countries now. And so yeah, shout out to all my Aussies, all my Aussie
Yeah.
fans. Yeah.
Yeah, Byron Bay is obviously so amazing, and, we ended up going all the way down to Melbourne, living there, and I was a bartender at a cafe called and a barista at a cafe called Victoria's Secret. I was, and I also lived at this hostel called The Mansion. And so there was one point I put it as my Facebook status, but I was like, I drive a van, I live in a mansion, I work at Victoria's Secret. This seems like a childhood MASH game come to
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yes, right.
You It was so wild, but I decided at that point that I really wanted to do something meaningful and I wanted to go home, and I did. I went home and I applied for this thing called Bike and Build. What Bike and Build is um, a nonprofit where individuals, well, groups of people between like 18 and 27 cycle across the United States for affordable housing, and they help build about 11 homes along the way. So,
Oh, what an experience. What is it called again?
bike and build.
Bike and build. Oh, that would be interesting for people who are looking to make an impact and
Yeah.
help
And
help
have
other people.
adventure and
Hmm.
meet incredible people. Yeah. So I was focused on that. I had started a um job at a microfiber towel company that was in their garage, and it turned into, it's one of those like Cinderella stories. It was a garage company that turned into a multi-million dollar company. But my friends, yeah, my friends too, which is so cool. But I was working there and volunteering with for Humanity, training for Bike and Build, training for a marathon, and I put on this fundraiser, and huge, I got so many baskets donated from local places and rented out this really nice place, and I broke even. So yeah, I just bawled and bawled so hard that night. Yeah, but some things are simply not meant for you. And the next day I got a phone call that one of my friends needed a chef on their boat, and they decided to call me. So I ended up flying back to Florida, back to go into yachting. And I did that for about 2 years. And I decided I really want to um, do something that I really, I'm quite a deep person, obviously. So doing something that's like meaningful and um, is an expression of my soul, like makes my soul happy, has always been really important. And I thought, well, acting might be quite fun because you become a master of your emotions. And I had always been this dream of mine. And so I decided to move to Los Angeles, did a road trip down the West Coast, went to LA, did the whole living out of your car, even.
Hmm.
I don't know why, like, people definitely romanticized doing that, and I will continue to reiterate it. Um, but yeah, so I did that, and you know what? I stayed there for about 3 months and really just didn't I didn't see the appeal of Los Angeles at that point.
Hmm.
Um, I I didn't like it. Yeah, and I wasn't meeting, yeah, I just didn't like it, to be honest. But I've grown in a lot of ways and I can appreciate it now. But anyway, at that time I decided I want to go back into yachting where it feels like everybody is a lot more present.
Hmm.
And I missed that. And so I went back into yachting for a bit, just freelancing, and I ended up I was still really trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do, still writing this whole time. Like, what am I supposed to do? You're doing it. Yeah. Um and I became a server for a private poker tournament that took me to Brazil, which was amazing. Um, Yeah, it's so random, right?
Right? I'm going to go serve here and then all of a sudden I'm going to be in Brazil.
Oh, and honestly, yeah, my whole life is the last 3 days have been in just like this whole story to be.
Yeah. Well, it's
But
just so amazing that you're able to do all that and then write the whole time that you're going through all of these experiences. Right before we got on, I flipped open the book because we were talking about how I wanted to have us read some of the pages that I had marked. And I flipped open a page and it's metamorphosis, or why can't I?
Metamorphosis?
Metamorphosis. I can't, for whatever reason, couldn't pronounce it. So metamorphosis was what I came up with, and it has this really beautiful. There's obviously a butterfly on it, and I was just instantly captured. When you go to read a book, and this is a book that you read a little and then you put down, let it absorb, integrate, really let it connect into your heart. And it's on my book, it's on page 87, and just really let it flow through you on this, because I had just shared, in my website, I talk about butterflies frequently with, people going through this whole process. And so of course I flip open a book that has talks about it. So um I um I'm going to read this one because I think it's
It's
powerful.
spoken. Yeah.
Yeah, it spoke. So, metamorphosis. A butterfly comes from darkness, as does the sprout of a flower and a newborn. Perhaps darkness is not what we think it is. Perhaps it is simply a safe place to grow. Like a caterpillar encompasses itself into darkness, the mind encases itself to transform. So powerful. So powerful, watching people transform, like just in this part of your journey, right? Like I can hardly recognize the person you were talking about who was in college, right? Deciding I got to be me. I don't know what that is yet. I got to get out there. I got to go. I got to go. There's something calling me, and I need to go to wherever I'm being called, and I'm going to listen to your own intuition.
Yep.
And now we have a book and song of stories
Yep.
of inspiration. On the back, what's so beautiful about this is it says it's a book of lullabies and ponderings for adults. Peace with yourself is peace with the world. I think it's really powerful for people to understand that. In fact, I think I would have people pick up the audiobook too. I
Aw.
mean, like if they could only do one, right? The
Yep.
audiobook, because I think how you're expressing the feelings behind it is even greater, and listening, and how, sound really can affect us and really get into a different place and heal us.
Mhm.
It's really beautiful. And now, if people want to buy your book, where do they go to get your book?
Yeah, you can get it off of Amazon actually.
Mm-hmm.
Or my website, but yeah, it's just search on Amazon. I love what I've forgotten. Barnes and Noble, Target, you can find it anywhere really. But ask your bookstore to carry it so we can get them in the bookstores more too.
Right. I think this would be a perfect book for like book gift boxes.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, gift boxes that have to do with like, wouldn't you like to receive this with like a, I have a flower agate palm stone crystal right here. right? Or
Oh,
have
yeah.
it blessed with energy, where somebody could receive it in a spiritual bookstore or a boutique, like where they sell really nice, like women's clothing. Because I
Mhm.
think it really, even though you're not mid-age at all, like I am, like the perspectives that you come into the book with are really of somebody who's already had half of a life. I mean, who's lived half of their adult life. But when you take that perspective, and I think to myself, I want my bestie who has younger children, 20 and 19, 18, to read this.
Oh,
Like I think it's really going to resonate with those who've had all of this experience in life, and maybe they're looking for inspiration to step into what they think might be, like their time is not here, right? Step into what their own vision is, take those steps and trust what you put out in the world, and trust your intuition that it's going to work out, and what's the next step. Because if you're just really focusing on taking that next step,
yep, yep.
and you know, I I just I think people need to hear it.
Yeah, thank you. And I think you're exactly right. If you go to any point in my story, I'm like, okay, like I'm obviously enjoying myself, but I'm like ready to like take action to go in the direction that I need to go. Um, and I think another thing about my book is there's a lot of self-love in here, and you can, you apply that to yourself when you're reading it, you're making positive affirmations to yourself as well.
Mhm.
Um, it's important. I have a nonprofit actually too, and the goal is to help people to find peace, right?
Mhm.
Create peace. And what we're doing that with is a VR headset and bringing people into nature. And then the meditations are all virtue focused. So you start to think of yourself more virtuously.
Yeah, it's really important, like what you started out with, right? Like seeing what's around you right now in any situation,
Mhm.
what you choose to focus on, and
Yep.
how putting those thoughts into the world and what actually comes back to us. I think um I wanted to see if you'll read one more for us. This is
I would love to.
Up Ahead, which is on page 39, because I think it's something I'd really like for people to think about if they're thinking about they're starting over, right? At any age. Maybe they're just starting out in the world and they don't know where to go. Maybe they've had a dream and that dream didn't happen.
Yep. Up ahead, you see, you see your life go down, and you believe it's over now. You make believe that it's over, so you don't have to care anymore. So you don't have to care. So you don't have to bear anymore. So you don't have to bear. But can you see the lights up above? And can you reach what is above you? Oh, you keep on flying by memories and keep your spirit high as you can reach. I can see, I can see that you want to go. I'm full of visions from up ahead, and you're not even close to being dead. Stop filling your mind with dread. You've got beauty up ahead.
Mhm. Wise, wise words. Up ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's so interesting, like, because we spoke about thinking about where you were at when you wrote a
Hmm.
piece or whatnot. And like, this is something, yeah. that I wrote in a combination, like, to me, really. I was writing to myself, um, 'cause you this is in a depressive state and, like, pulling yourself out of it,
Mhm.
right? And you're noticing, that like, why do you want things to end? You know, like because you can't bear the pain, because you don't want to care, and it's not truth. It's not truth what you're experiencing. Like, there's so much goodness out there. Um, Things will change inevitably, but you can change your focus as well to finding something to enjoy in that moment. And yeah.
Yeah, it's really powerful. I'm full of visions from up ahead. I'm full of visions from up ahead. Yeah, it's really powerful. Being able to plug into that, right? The lights just shining through that there's so much more. You know what I find fascinating about your journey as you've gone through everything and all the writing that incurred all this is that you kept your writing and you've gone back and really taken a look at, you know, not only that you were able to express it, but that you were able to express it and then get it out there knowing that it's going to help somebody who is on a similar journey and that you have to just keep trying different things and live those experiences and the answers come.
Yep.
It's the, Steve Jobs says it on that commencement, right? The Stanford commencement, I've been able to connect the dots. You start connecting more and more dots and you start seeing clarity and vision. And so I think we're just so blessed to have had you on in all of the sharing.
Oh,
And,
thank you.
out of all of these, before we wrap it up, um, what is your favorite, absolute favorite in the book?
Oh, happy.
Happy.
Hmm. Page 41.
Okay, I'm going to go to 41 too. Okay, happy.
Do you want me to read it?
Please, let's
Okay.
leave up on happy.
um, Happy. I won't tell you who to be. I just want you to be happy. On the way you may struggle, just know that I'll be here to cuddle. Yeah, you might lose your way. Just know that I'm going to say, I just want you to be happy. I just want to see that smile on your face. I just want you to be happy. Yeah, yeah. I'll help you find happiness in this place. I won't tell you where to go, but I'll show you places that I know. You might find you like a few, but to thy own self stay true. On our journeys, come what may, maybe one day I'll hear you say, I just want you to be happy. I just want to see that smile on your face. I just want you to be happy. Yeah, yeah. I'll help you find happiness in this place. They say it's not where you are, it's always who you're with. Just know that I can't think of a better person to be with.
Hmm, I get chills. That's so beautiful.
Aw, thank you.
That needs to be made into a song that's played,
Aw.
right? When I'm listening to some Indian, indie, indie music, which
It
is,
will
yeah,
somehow, who
it will
knows?
be. Yeah, somebody's going to listen and go, oh, I know who I need to connect her with because that's how the
Mhm.
universe works. This has
Yep.
been so delightful. So, if somebody wants to reach you, we've shared your how to find your book. How can they find you?
So you can find me on my website, which is walkyriawhitlock.com. That's WALKYriawhitlock.com. And you can also find me on Instagram. I'm fairly active. Um, yeah, feel free to reach out. And always love hearing feedback. And if you ever have any questions or whatever, feel free to reach out.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. This has
Yeah,
been
thank you.
such an honor to hear your lovely voice, read through the book, hear your amazing story so far, because there's so much unwritten story.
I know it's been a long, it's amazing life. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, right? And it's all from listening and being aware of your own thoughts.
Thank you.
So powerful of what you're calling in for the universe and, really manifesting and co-creating, really co-creating the life that you want.
I have to share with you because of what you just said, what happened to me this weekend, if that's okay. Are we
Mhm.
too
Please.
long?
No, no, go ahead.
Okay. So on Friday night, I was out and I hadn't been to Savannah for a long time. I've been here before and it was dark. And we went and met up with some friends. I went outside and I was just walking down the road and this door opened up. And I thought, oh, like that looks cool. So I went inside, huge crystals in there. Amethyst, there's fossils, just like this beautiful. I just couldn't believe it seemed like I walked into a museum of some sort and I was waiting for the alarm to go off because it was midnight. I was like, "This is incredible. This is amazing." Um, the next day, I was speaking to my dad on the phone, and he told me to go find this 100-year-old hat collection with 100 hats from every year, and I was on my way there walking through Forsyth Park, which is a really big park in Savannah. I stopped to take a picture of the sunset, and this gentleman asks me if I want to get in the photo. And I'm like, "Yes, of course, thank you." And he asks me if I have he then interviews me. So he was taking a photo and then he's video. He's like, Tell me your name. Tell me about yourself." I tell him about myself. And he's like, "Well, if you have a moment to chat, I might be able to help you with some of your projects." And I thought, really? Like, that's interesting. And he's like, "Where are you headed?" I'm like, "Oh, to this hat thing." And he's like, "Oh, it's the hat thing by Richard Kessler." And I was like, "I don't know who it's by actually." And he goes, "Well, I'm Richard Kessler." And you know what? You know who Richard Kessler is? He's the same person who designed and got that collection of stones and stuff at the other place I wandered into. So the whole 24, and also I stopped in front of this house and admired it when I was walking. It was his house, which he then like, after I went to the hotel and saw that, he gave me a tour of his house, which he's changing into this boutique thing as well, which has things from, like, the 14th century. And anyway, I have an interview with his and then on Sunday, he invited me to go arrowhead hunting with him as he was making a deal to buy arrowheads for their next hotel collection. Um, so right? I was just like, how could I don't understand how this happened. It was so incredible. And so I have an interview with their company tomorrow, and that's what I'm going for. And it's just, it has really literally been a testament to everything that we just spoke about, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah, it is. How it just keeps bringing it up because you're open to receiving it.
You have to be open, right? Like so many
Hmm.
people could have been like, "Oh no, like there's a guy walking up to me like, no, don't take my picture." Like or um yeah, it's just how you interact with the world, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that good things are coming. You're open to receiving.
Yeah.
Really
And there's a lot of
balancing.
trust. Yeah,
Yeah.
trust and faith and hope and love
Yeah. And
and
people can
joy.
sense it. People can sense it, right? You can feel somebody's vibes, their
Yeah,
aura. You can just feel their, listening to that intuition. I'm sure if you had gotten some icky feeling that you wouldn't have talked
exactly.
to some strange man to take your picture,
No,
told him
no.
where you were going, right? Like
Yep.
it's not like you're naive.
No, yeah, exactly. Nope, you can tell. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I'm quite
Oh.
experienced in this now, so I'm a lot more confident.
Oh, what a beautiful way to wrap this up. So, thank you again for being on. And I'm going to just wrap it up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.